Welcome back to another episode of Team Building Tips with Dan Talbot on the Educational AD Podcast. We'll be right back with Dan, but first let's hear from our podcast sponsors. We want to say thanks to Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. You can find out more about what Hometown Ticketing can do for you and your school by going to hometownticketing.com and talk to their experts. Hometown Ticketing, simple and easy online ticketing. We also want to thank Huddle for their support. Remember, at Huddle, we power sports. Over 200,000 teams use Huddle to elevate the performance of their teams using video and analytics. Huddle is the complete performance platform. They have online tools, smart cameras like the Huddle Focus. They've always had analytics, but there's so much more. Huddle's also built for every level of play, from club and youth teams all the way through high school and college programs. And even the pros use Huddle to help their teams play at the highest level. You're in pretty good company with over 6 million users, including your student athletes. If you want to find out more about what Huddle can do for you and your program and how your school can become a Huddle school, go to huddle.com and talk to their professionals. Remember, at Huddle, we power sports. We also want to say thanks to Final Forms, the industry leader in registration. But Final Forms is more than just forms. Final Forms is a team, it's technology, and it provides your school with compliance, communication, and risk management solutions. Final Forms can help your stakeholders with things like mobile accessibility, and it has reminders for parents about policies, about physicals, and all the forms that go with being an athlete. Final Forms also helps with team communication and attendance, and even certification management for coaches. And for athletic directors, Final Forms can help with eligibility, with rosters, and all the reports that come across your desk. And it does this with secure language translation and ADA compliance. You know, it's time for you to talk to a team that's walked in your shoes. To take the next steps and find out what Final Forms can do for you, go to finalforms.com/Jake. That's finalforms.com/Jake to get started. We also want to say thanks to Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack for sponsoring the AD Toolbox segment of the podcast. Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack are a quick, easy, and affordable way for you to collect comprehensive data that allows you to evaluate and improve your entire athletic program. Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack also connects you to the 95% of the players and the parents who really love your program, and it gives them a voice to help demonstrate the importance that a positive athletic experience has for them. Go to athleticsurveys.com and check out their testimonials, and then call 1-800-738-6466, or you can email them at info@athleticsurveys.com to get started. If you've never used a survey to take the pulse of your parents or your student athletes, you're really missing out. Talk to the folks at Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack and let them help you take your athletic program from good to great. We also want to thank Sideline Interactive for their support. Sideline Interactive's indoor scoring tables and video boards can generate $10,000 or more every single season, while also creating the ultimate game day experience for your athletes. Go to sidelineinteractive.com or call 832-786-0302 to schedule a live web demo and see their tables and boards in action. You can also email them at sales@sidelineinteractive.com and see exactly what these fantastic products can do for you. That's sales@sidelineinteractive.com. We also want to say thanks to Wall of Fame by Vital Signs. You know, they're on a mission to bring your school's legacy to life. They've got a variety of interactive touchscreen consoles and an entire library of templates to help recognize the athletic achievements of your students, both past and present. Let them help you showcase your school's diverse history and your proudest moments by going to vitalsignswalloffame.com or call them at 614-981-3589. And you can also email them at sales@vitalsignswalloffame.com. That's sales@vitalsignswalloffame.com. We also want to say thanks to our newest sponsor, Gipper. Gipper allows you to create custom graphics and designs to brand and display your program in a variety of ways. Gipper's going to be sending us a custom commercial to share with you, but we want to give them a shout out and thank them for supporting the Educational AD podcast and team building tips. Go to Gipper.com for more information. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Team Building Tips with Dan Talbot. This is episode 4. Dan Talbot's certified master athletic administrator, and he's the director of athletics for Polk County Schools in Polk County, Florida. Dan, always great to talk with you. What do you have for us on this episode?
Great to be back. So today I'm going to talk a little about when there's a lot of things to consider when you're building your team and things. But one thing that, in my role as a district AD, and it's like anything else, when you go to clinics, there's a lot of software companies out there that are selling the latest and greatest, whether it be for coaches education, coaches clearance, student athlete registration, scheduling, officials, whatever it may be. As a district athletic director, you got to be very conscientious of bringing in companies that is going to create more work for your athletic administrators, because in our district, every athletic director has a different job. Some are in the classroom, some are not in the classroom, some are deans, some have more times than others. It just depends what school you're at. There is, and that's probably standard for, across the country. I mean, if you take Hillsborough County, that's right next door to us, one of the largest school districts in the country, their athletic directors are assistant principals. So not too many people are blessed to have I'm just the AD role, which we are striving for here in Polk County and hope to get to that point someday. But unfortunately, cases across the world, athletic directors and that other duties assigned plays a big role in your job description. So when we're looking at software, we want to make sure that software is not just another thing an athletic director has to do. Because if you take a schedule, okay, just take a football schedule. You have to put it into your transportation to order the buses. You have to order the officials. So you've already entered it twice. They have to send me a copy of it. So hopefully they're doing it on the required form that I need. So that's the 3 times they have to do it. And then they got to generate contracts through our state association required platform, which communicates. So you're taking one schedule and you're putting it in 4 different times, which I think frustrates a lot of athletic directors and people, because you're wondering why you can't just sit down, and why can't all those computer, the biggest word is, why can't they talk to each other? That's the thing. I'm like, well, computers just don't get online when we're sleeping and start talking to each other. It's a little bit more to it than that. But, one of my major concerns is coaches clearance and athlete registration. And so we recently met with a company that has been fantastic for us. I mean, they're customizing and building our coaches clearance website, and it's tailor-made for all the requirements for our district. So yesterday we had a walkthrough of it. I had a couple athletic directors with me, and their jaw just dropped, because it's alleviating work that they have to do. Because before then, in the state of Florida, a coach is required to have heat illness education, cardiac arrest education, concussion education, and then if you're a cheerleading coach, you have the safety and cheer certification. If you're a football coach, you got to add on the tackling video for there, and all these other requirements. And basically most athletic directors were tracking it by hand. They'd come back to their office, there'd be 6 certificates on their desk, all different sorts of ways how they were tracking it. Well, now with this software that we have designed, the coaches create an account, they upload their certificates into the system, the AD approves them, and then it also will basically send them an email when that's going to expire. Because in Florida, on April 1st, you're allowed to retake the courses on the National Federation of High Schools for the next school year. So we've got a tailor-made design to do that, but they also included all the specific stuff that we need for our county and the policies and procedures that we have in place. Because in Florida, we have the Jessica Lunsford Act. which everyone should be familiar with. If you're not, it's basically everyone has to have a background check before they can get on campus in the state of Florida, no questions asked. And so we have our coaches do a level 2 background check and drug test before they're even allowed to be with students, to make sure we're getting the right people around our student athletes and our children in a safe manner. So when you're looking at bringing in software or doing things, just make sure it's not something that's going to create more work, and be conscientious of the people doing the work. You want to make their life easier, and the company that we're dealing with right now is very affordable. And it's one of those things where I, as a district administrator, can pay for, and the schools can use it, because I think we're all familiar with those unfunded mandates that come down from legislation that frustrate a lot of us. And I've always vowed as a district athletic director not to impose those unfunded mandates, which frustrate a lot of people. So this was a software, but and to give you an idea about the company, it was one of the first times in my career, and I got to do it with a couple other athletic directors, is we went to a open panel discussion with every single employee of this company. And they wanted to hear about what it was like to be a district athletic director, what it was like to be a school-based athletic director, all the things that we go through in our lives, in the work setting. And they were basically building their platform and their software based on our needs. And to sit down with a company, and because the average person will say, that's an athletic director, Jake, this, you show up at 7:30, you turn the lights on, you throw a ball out, and magically a football game or a basketball game or a volleyball game, it just happens. And all these people come in the stands, and it's amazing when you just turn the lights on and all these people show up, but they don't understand everything that goes on behind the scenes to make that happen. And so to be able to express our daily routines, really shock their employees. So this company that we're using is really conscientious of what we're going through, and to be able to sit down with that company and have our needs addressed. I did a walkthrough with our software platform yesterday, and it's amazing, because we have basically 4 kinds of coaches in Polk County. We have a teacher coach who's an actually certified professional teacher. We have a school board employee that also coaches, whether they're a para in our system, a school bus driver, a custodian, some other school board employee that coaches. We have our paid community coaches that we bring in from the outside. And then we just have our volunteer coaches. And what this coaches platform is doing for us is, when you go in and create your account and you select which coach you are, then it's going to give you the requirements that you need. And they're different from every different level. So it's really nice. The athletic directors are very excited. One of the athletic directors was there yesterday. It was brand new. He emailed this morning. It's like, when can we go online? I said, we're almost there. Relax, because this is something that's taking work off their plate. And that's what we try to do, because at the end of the day, our goal should be to spend as much time visiting practices, visiting with the student athletes, seeing what's actually going on in our program. Because when you deal with parents, a lot of them say, well, have you ever been to practice and seen coach? Because coach does this and this, so we need to find ways to create time to allow that to happen. So the tip is, when you're picking a software company to do things for you, make sure it's the right fit for you and it's not creating more work for everyone else.
Dan, you bring up such a great point. There's so many things in our daily routine that are, management types of things, the record keeping, the scheduling, the transportation, all that stuff. It's the leadership things, like you said, getting out to practice, talking with coaches, talking with kids. That's where an AD really feels that time crunch. And so to have these platforms that can help, wow, that is a team building tip.
Well, and it just goes back to the simple question. Are you directing athletics, or are you managing it? Mm-hmm. And the veteran ADs know what I'm talking about. The new ones have no idea. The new ones that are doing all the busy work, they think they're directing, but they're really not. And the only way you can direct athletics is to be out in front of the coaches and the student athletes and the parents.
Absolutely. That expression, you don't know what you don't know applies. And that's where it's great to have you and our other contributors on. If one of our listeners wants to reach out and find out how you do things at Polk County, what's the best way they can get in touch with you?
Best way, I'll do it every single time because I don't shy away from anything. I mean, this goes back to the simple thing. I've coached football for over 20 years. It was a great part of my life, but as a football coach, I was a liar. I mean, I really was. I mean, if you ask me what we're doing on defense, I gave you about 3 or 4 ingredients, but I didn't give them all to you because I was afraid you were going to beat me. But now that I'm an athletic administrator, I can tell the truth and be honest and upfront. And if I have anything that you need, I will, I'm one of those guys that I'll send you the Microsoft Word version. I won't send you the PDF because I want you to just go in and put your logo on it and be able to use it if your life's easier. So if you want to get a hold of me, like I said, I'm upfront and honest, 863-661-0647. Again, 863-661-0647. That's my cell phone number. It is the best way to get a hold of me because I am directing athletics in Polk County, not managing, so I'm never in my office.
All right. Dan Talbot, Polk County High School or Polk County School District. Thanks so much for being on Team Building Tips, and all the best as we start our summer season.
All right. Thank you.
For our listeners, remember the Zoom recordings of all of these interviews get uploaded to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We appreciate you listening today. Come back next week for more team building tips with Dan Talbot and just about every day on the Educational AD Podcast. We'll see you next time. We want to thank all of our sponsors that make team building tips possible. Sideline Interactive, indoor scoring tables, and video boards. Final Forms, the industry leader in registration. Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack, surveys for students, parents, to help you take your program to the next level. Huddle, video and analytics, turn your school into a huddle school. Gipper, branding and graphics, make your school look like a D1 program with Gipper. Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. Go to hometownticketing.com for more information. And Wall of Fame by Vital Signs. Let them help you share your school's greatest moments at vitalsignswalloffame.com. Thanks to all of our sponsors. We'll see you next time on Team Building Tips.